Alright, little update on trip prep. Supposed to be leaving in 15 minutes to go out west. 28-hour drive to get to a hotel in time. What is we're currently at with the trailer is rebuilding. We've rebuilt these linkage, these shackles. You can see where we welded because the holes were too rounded off, or too oblong. So we're putting in new bolts on both sides. There's that side, still taking apart. I gotta get the wheels on, I gotta finish packing, I gotta take a shower. So I wanted to leave by 6 o'clock, which is in 15 minutes. We're probably gonna get out of here at 6:30 and then drive non-stop 27 hours to the Grand Canyon. And it should be a blast. Yeah, enough chit chat. Talk to you guys when I'm on the road. Alright, I also forgot to tell you guys that that sounds great. That is not a good sound, but we're gonna run it. We're gonna see what happens. It's the inner wheel bearing. It's not the outer. So, we'll see what happens. Is it on, cameraman?
Yes, it is.
Alright. This is the beginning of the trip to Arizona and Albequerque, New Mexico, to buy a car for Sierra.
Yes.
Flip that around so we know what you look like.
Yes.
And see, we're gonna get there at 7:46 on the next day.
Yep. In Tuba City.
Yeah.
We stay in our hotel.
So we're gonna be driving non-stop, switching drivers back and forth.
Yep.
And it's gonna suck. But,
Yeah.
but we're gonna do 3,500 miles in 3 days.
Yep.
So it should be fine.
Yep. All good?
I don't know, we'll see what happens. We have plenty of water,
Don't say that.
we have plenty of tools, extra engine oil.
Yep.
The trailer is not in the worst shape it's ever been.
That is true.
And we're 2.5 hours behind schedule.
Excellent.
So, yeah,
Worth it.
developments will come. Alright, update. We are 54 miles outside of Denver. And it is 11:13. Because we are at Mountain Time. Just the setup. Just the sleeping setup. It's a little short. It works. It's a little bumpy. Just a little bumpy. How you doing, Sierra? You enjoy driving in the rain?
No.
Say it to the camera. Do you like driving in the pouring rain? No. No, she does not. Beautiful day out. That's about it. Just keep tracking. How many miles have we done? We started at 1,600 miles. We've done about 1,000 miles. We've done about 1,000 miles. Crashed car. But yeah, so that's where we are at. We just keep on cruising. interstate. We have picked up the car. You can see it in the mirror back there on the trailer. We are in New Mexico. I'm not sure where. Somewhere northeast of Albequerque. And made it about 80 miles, and now traffic is at a dead stop on the interstate. We have not moved in 10 minutes. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we do have heat lightning going on. It's cool. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's heat lightning going on all up in the distance on the left and right. There you go. So, at least I get to watch that. But I'm watching our destination drive, our ETA, increase as we sit here. We have about 20 hours of driving left, and that's just going to keep going up and up and up the longer we sit here, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? First major traffic jam of the trip, so I'm not really complaining. Oh, look at all that lightning. It's so cool. Yeah, that's about it. Alright, so it's late. Well, it's not that late. It was like 10:30 when we got back, but car's in the shop, unloaded, and here she is in all of her glory. Radio works, clock does not work, some of the warning lights work. Needs some work for sure, but overall quite nice. Needs a headliner, but since the car's from New Mexico, we're thinking we're gonna do a Serape headliner, or do like a border and then with a Serape down the middle. That'd be cool. The seats, we might recover like how they are, something similar, or we might just do I don't know what we're gonna do. There's gonna be a Serape, a Mexican blanket in here somewhere. The dash is in excellent shape. The colors on this car are fantastic. I wish they made cars in these colors to this day, but they don't, so we gotta stick with these ones. Front end is excellent. It is a complete car, except for, can I walk around the back? Yeah, no. The driver's door has been replaced. So this trim piece and this trim piece is missing, and there's no holes for that trim piece. So unfortunately, we'll have to find those trim pieces. The gentleman we bought the car from is saying that he knows the guy with those trim pieces. He might send it. He said he'd send us the pieces. We'll see if he does. I think he will, but he might not. And if he doesn't, we can find it other places. The trunk is super solid. These are unibody cars. These 61 to 63s are all unitized chassis construction, or monocoque chassis if you're European. So they're really hard to find Midwest solid, because the rust prevention was not good. You'd have those layers of steel, the salt would get in there, and it would just sit and sit and sit. Nothing was E-coated, so it was just, they rotted out super fast. But this one is incredibly solid. I haven't found, there is a little bit of rust on this piece right here. That's pretty much it. Everything else is patina, and we're gonna leave it patinaed for a while. It is the all aluminum 215 V8, which I'll show you guys later. This is really just a trip wrap-up video, so not a car tour video. The trip went well. Truck did great. Thirsty as ever for being a 8.1 liter. And not the most comfortable to sleep in for non-stop driving, at least for me. It was a little tall. So I'm thinking It's not going to be great for winter. Well, I mean, it'll be fine. Not great for preserving it, but I'm thinking we're going to sell the truck and we'll see if we can't find a square body Suburban, preferably a late 70s one with the round headlights. I know they're super desirable and four-wheel drive is rare, but if I can find a 3/4 ton four-wheel drive square body Suburban, even an 80s one, I'm not picky. I know a lot of the big blocks and the towing package cars were not four-wheel drive, unfortunately. I know you don't necessarily need four-wheel drive in the snow, especially if you put a locker in the back, like this truck has. Two-wheel drive with the locker in the back, it'll do very well in the snow. It was good in the snow. Open diff, but so I'm thinking my biggest gripe with the truck in the desert especially is that floor got so hot. The Allison transmission, when we were driving through Utah and Arizona, I mean, the floor was so incredibly hot just from the heat from the transmission that I could not put my feet on it if they were. I had my feet get really, really hot, and then that makes the rest of me hot. So I had my shoes off. So I had my feet just anywhere but the floor with the cruise on because it was just unbearable. But once we were driving at night, Sierra didn't like to drive at night. It's hard for her to stay awake. So I slept during the day. I saw some stuff during the day, tried to sleep. And then when it got to nighttime, I drove. And we did good time, but driving in the night was definitely my preferred because it was a little bit cooler. It got down in the high 60s. So all in all, we were gone for a total of 74 hours. And we drove 3,500 miles. Of those 74 hours, we drove for 56 and a half of them, roughly. The other time was spent sleeping and at the Grand Canyon. So we didn't really get to see a ton of the Grand Canyon. We're definitely going back. If not, we were planning on Yellowstone next year, but maybe we'll go to the Grand Canyon again next year. Stay for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and do some hiking. If not, it'll be Yellowstone and then the Grand Canyon, and we'll hit the Arches National Park in Moab, up in Utah as well. We'll take the Mercedes-Benz to do that. We'll have the air conditioning working. It'll be super fuel efficient. Yeah, we'll figure that out, but we'll see. But this was an excellent trip. Got to see the Grand Canyon, something I hadn't seen before. Got to drive through the desert, something I hadn't done before. And we picked up this wonderful car from Albequerque, New Mexico. Car spent its whole life in New Mexico. It was sold new in New Mexico. So as soon as it was done being built, off to Mexico and went to a dealership. There isn't a original dealership tag on the back, so it's broken and it's in the trunk. So maybe solder that or figure something out to fix it. But it's a very complete car. 62 F85 four-door. Four-door is not most people's go-to. I think the four-door really fits this car, like, very well. And this is about the same size as the Mercedes-Benz. It's a little shorter because it fits lengthwise like this behind the truck. I'd say they're about the same length, but this was a compact car in the 60s. This is by far not the best example, the best survivor example, but this was a compact family car back in the 60s. Not a subcompact, but this is in line with the Falcons. This is what you would buy if, I didn't want a base car. I wanted something a little nicer, something with a little bit more of a futuristic power plant. The 215 aluminum V8 that was designed and built by Buick, rebadged as the Rocket 8, and then turbocharged by Oldsmobile in the Jetfire to make 1 horsepower per cubic inch and become the very first production turbocharged car in the world. that debate goes between the Monza Spider Corvair and the Jetfire. The Monza you could pre-order first, I believe, but the Jetfire was available in dealerships first. So it depends on how you would count buying a car. I don't know if the Monza Spider sold. I don't know. I would say what sold first. Not what was available to be sold, but what was bought first. I'm not sure. But in my book, since I'm an Oldsmobile guy, the Jetfire is the world's first production turbocharged mass-produced car. And they're extremely rare. But this is the same motor. It does not have the original Rotomatic 3-speed, which is a blessing and a curse, because those Rotomatics don't use a typical flex plate. They use the torque dampener, and it's not really good for swapping out to a newer transmission. But this has a 2-speed Buick dual path in it. So it's a 2-speed automatic. It's sort of like a Dynaflow with a variable pitch torque converter. But this is a 2-speed with a variable pitch torque converter. So at least I think. I was looking at the oil pan. That's just based on the oil pan. It looks like a dual path. But the dual paths, and I believe the Dynaflows, use a regular style flex plate. So you can get the flex plate re-drilled and balanced, because these are internally balanced motors, I believe. I'm probably wrong. I'm really tired. And I am not 100% for sure that is the case. But I'm pretty sure you'll be able to just do a little modification, get an adapter plate, a pile bushing adapter, and you could put a 200 4R behind this, a short tail shaft, or a 700 R4, whichever one you want. But the power is so low on this right now, even though the plan is to turbocharge it eventually, because it is a low comp 2-barrel. It's a 2-jet, 155 horse motor, which is nice because we can boost it and not have to run methanol like they did on the Jetfires. So I'm not sure what we're going to do as far as transmission. It might get a manual in it. But for now, it's here, and we're going to get it running and driving. There is a noise from the transmission in park and neutral, but in the moving gears in reverse and drive, it makes no noise. So something interesting is going on. It did come with a spare transmission, just like the one that's in the car. Whether that's I had a little trouble finding. I don't know what the shift pattern is on a dual path. I don't know if you just have drive and it shifts through 2 gears, or if you can select a low and a high gear like on a Power Glide. I think you could select a low and a high gear like on a Power Glide. So this might be a Dynaflow, which is even worse. Horribly inefficient, but smooth as silk, which is how the 60s were or that's how 60s cars were. This is a light car. It's 2,700 pounds. Weighs about the same as my 67 Mustang. But there's a lot more room on the inside of this thing. I'm a little jealous. 13-inch rims, too. 13-inch, that's what you get. And they are poverty hubcaps, so it might be fortuitous to upgrade to some 14-inch rims. It would change the proportions of the car a little bit, but I doubt those are the correct size tires. So maybe at some point we'll get some 14s on there. A little more variety in tire size as well. But yeah, so probably going to go with 4-speed overdrive. We don't even know what the rear end ratio is in this car. But it's not horribly slow for 155 horse because the car's so light. It's very nice. I'd say it's definitely nicer than the Falcons of the day. Unless you got a V8 Falcon, which was not all too common from my understanding. Most of them were the 144 and 170 straight sixes, especially in the early 60s, because they were an economy car. So this is definitely going to be peppier than a stock Falcon. Yeah, it's just, I could talk about this car forever. It's just, who knows, maybe I'll sell the Mustang and get a 2-door version. Because this is just a wicked cool car. Yeah, that's it. This is the car. This is Sierra's car, and it is one awesome machine.